Welcome everybody to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. This is our public roundtable and it's our 126th roundtable. So, when I look at that, it makes me wonder, wow, we've been doing this for a long time. And it's been a lot of fun just every week, religiously learning about what entrepreneurs are doing in different parts of the world. And we literally see people from everywhere. We'll talk about Asia, talk about Latin America, talk about Europe, Iceland, even Africa. We've even seen pictures from Africa. So it's been a fascinating experience learning what entrepreneurs are thinking in different corners of the world. So today we're going to talk to three of them, Joe, Sumit, and Syed. Before we go into the formal pitches, I want to go over a couple of things very quickly. I'm actually headed to London later today, and we are doing some very cool things to stimulate entrepreneurship in Britain, and our partner there is ANN Media. ANN Media is one of the largest media companies in the UK, and they reach 130 million consumers. So we have created this partnership whereby the first event is in London. There's a contest going on right now, and you're very welcome to apply for it. Tech Hub and ANN Media are doing the Battle of the Startups contest on May 22nd in London. And we're also going to be doing other scholarship-based roundtables. For this roundtable, there are going to be 5 scholarships, 5 1M1M premium scholarships given out, sponsored by ANN Media. And then there are going to be more scholarship roundtables, business plan competitions, so to speak, all through end of May, June, and July. And we are going to be doing these with various different universities and local entrepreneurship development organizations and so on and so forth. So you'll see us quite a lot in the UK soon. We're already also doing another very interesting contest for which the deadline is tomorrow. So if you're interested in this, you need to get your application in ASAP. This is 2 companies, Blue Snap and Elance, are awarding 12 1M1M scholarships to digital commerce and subscription businesses. So these are either e-commerce businesses or SaaS businesses or any kind of subscription services types of businesses. And we are going to have the finals for this on June 4th and June 7th, I believe. And we're going to have 12 scholarships awarded. So both of these deadlines are approaching soon. If you plan to apply, make sure your applications get in on time. Okay, so this roundtable is being recorded. You will have access to it to go over what has been discussed and also to share it with your team members, or people who missed the roundtable live can catch up on it afterwards. Twitter. If you're on Twitter, if you're live tweeting the show, which many of you often do, please use hashtag 1M1M. And our Twitter handles are @1M by 1M and @Sramana. You're very welcome to follow those. There will be some live tweeting from those accounts as well. And if you are in the audience today, if this is your first time, please use the chat to participate in today's session. You can discuss, you can ask questions, you can brainstorm, you can network. A lot of people are doing a lot of networking in the public chat while these sessions are going on, and we encourage all of that. It's kind of a virtual networking session, a virtual weekly networking session that a lot of people like to come to. You need to set your chat to send to all participants to be able to use it in public chat mode. Be careful not to send me private chat messages, because while the presenters are presenting, I will not be able to monitor my chat. I'm going to really need to focus heavily on what is being discussed and what the businesses are that we are working on. So that takes a lot of focus. All right, so we're going to start with Syed as the first presenter. Syed, if you could unmute your line and come tell us what you're doing with Masala Street. Cool name.
Yeah. So, we started Masala Street 8 months back. I and my team went about to all restaurants and 2-star, 3-star hotels. We went and spoke what exactly we can do with table booking. See, we wanted to have a table booking platform where it is real time. If you look at Indian market, there you have room bookings. You go to any hotel, you have room booking facilities. You go there, you fill online, and it is real time. But for table booking, you don't have any real time platform. Even for online ordering, yeah.
It's similar to OpenTable. Is what you're suggesting?
Yeah, something similar to OpenTable.
Okay.
So which we don't have any particular platform here in India. So I thought an Indian restaurant and hotel industry is a big industry. So I thought, why don't we do something similar to OpenTable? So then we thought not only OpenTable, because in America you have table bookings, but the door delivery market is not as mature as here in India.
Okay. There
is a company called Seamless which does door delivery. But then again, it is not as big market like how here in India. So we thought we'll have a platform where all your food needs is met at one place. So right from table booking, if you are in the mood for door delivery, you go to this platform, look at the restaurant, search your favorite cuisine or by location, order food from your particular restaurant, see the menu, select the menu, order it, and the guy comes and delivers it. So the delivery logistic part is taken care by the restaurants themselves. And table booking is something where, yeah.
Got it. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So then we thought not only table booking, we'll also have buffet and banquet facility. So we wanted to make it a one place where people can go and order food from one place. If it is then again the banquet market is little small because there's no unlike table booking and door delivery, banquet is like you might have 200 hotels and lunch and dinner banquets might if you have only 400 banquets will come. So then we thought we'll club all this together, make a platform where we sign up lots of restaurants. And when we were doing this, we thought, so this is going to be a marketplace. Why don't we sell this product to people who don't want to come inside the marketplace? They say, okay, give me that so that I can integrate in my own website, so that I have lots of, there are restaurants with 50,000 Facebook followers. So we thought, we can give this platform to them. They can also directly sign up or book tables for their users directly from their own website.
Is this something that you're going to create in a way that once the restaurant buys this software as a service, they can also plop it inside their Facebook page so that their Facebook fans can register right from inside?
Exactly.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. So we have also developed a Facebook application in a way that you get this integrated directly, and you can also sign up your own customers directly from your Facebook page or even from your website.
Okay.
So when I went and spoke to a lot of restaurants, they started saying that no, we would like to develop our own web application rather giving taking a third-party application. We would like to sign up in Masala Street.
Okay.
So they were little, they don't want to share the data of 50,000. They have a scare factor of we might use the data in some way or the other. So they said that, okay, we will build our own app, so you don't have to worry about the app part. If you can bring in users from your site, we'll pay for that. So we started focusing more on Masala Street than giving the software product, which we thought Indians are not, maybe in the market in Chennai is not really mature enough like how OpenTable or TopTable in different parts of the world.
So essentially now you have come to the conclusion that you cannot sell software. You're going to have to basically develop a consumer portal, and whatever bookings you generate for these restaurants, they will pay for on a transaction basis.
Yes.
Which is the open
as on date, this is what
that is the open model.
That is the opposite, is it?
That is the model of OpenTable.
Yeah, yeah. That is the model of OpenTable. See, OpenTable also charges for the platform. See, he charges somewhere around $99 a month, and he charges, if he brings in user, he charges $1. And if you get your user directly from a website, he charges 25 cents. See, what we do is, we are not charging any fee for the software. We give the platform for free. We will, if we bring in users, we take, for door delivery, we take 10% cut.
I think what the evolution that OpenTable went through was very similar. I don't think they were charging from the for the platform in the beginning.
Okay. Okay.
Were on this transaction basis, the success fee basis. And once they became successful and built enough of a portal that was a successful portal, they were in a negotiating position to go back to these restaurants and say, here, the platform you need to pay for.
Okay. Yeah. Can we move to the next slide? The next one. See, I have a couple of questions like, can I
move from this?
Yeah, you can move from this.
Move further or?
Even from this.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask a couple of questions, which I think I've actually signed up to a couple of chain restaurants, each with 20 outlets in Chennai. So we have just started. We are planning to launch only on 19th. My question now is, first, I have not signed up a lot of restaurants. If it's a marketplace, which I believe we should have a lot of choices for the user to go through, right? We don't want to have only a couple of guys signed up. So I thought, should I sign up, say 10 guys, and start launching this thing and bring in other guys without even their sign up? Say, for an example, if they have not signed up, should I?
You're going to need to get a critical restaurant, because the whole point of this platform is to have enough restaurants that consumers can order from, and without that, you really don't have an offering, a value proposition. Yes,
yes, yes. So, should I, for an example, should I launch it with my 10 restaurants signed up and put all the 90, 100 guys who are not yet signed up, but I would like to give them service, show them this model is working for them, give them free leads? Should I work that way, or should I have to wait and sign up all these guys and launch?
It's a slippery slope, Syed, because if you put them on there and you start generating leads from them, your value proposition is dependent on them, right? Justification for your existence, unless you can follow through on what you're trying to do. And if they don't put in the software, you will not have real-time data. So that means that it's So I think the better.
What we have done is.
Hold on. So at least for Chennai,
go on.
There are not that many restaurants in Chennai. There, that will fit into this model. There are what did you say? 90 to 100 restaurants in Chennai.
600 restaurants in Chennai.
But all 600 need to be on this platform. They don't take reservations. 600 restaurants don't take reservations.
No, 600 in this maybe 300 will take reservations. There are lots of restaurants which don't take reservations. So what we have done is, if for door delivery also we have a platform where they can put their menu and we can order. Users can order door delivery as well, which is a huge market here.
I would try to get at least 50 of them on the platform.
Okay.
And launch it, and then you can, once you can get 50 and this thing starts going, you can get the rest. But I think 10 is too few to launch this with, because the consumer.
10 is few. Yeah. Okay. The next question is.
I would do the full rollout for Chennai before I go to any other city.
Yeah, that's true. So we want to plan, go deep in Chennai, have all of them signed up, most of them signed up, give a lot of value to them, all the customers as well as to the users. When we are profitable, then we'll move to the next city. If we are profitable and we really make a huge impact in everybody's life.
Not only that, I think what you can do in Chennai, once you can make this thing fully flowing, you can go back to the restaurants and start charging them for the platform as well. Today they're saying they're not going to pay for it, but once you create enough market share and enough, prove to them that they are getting value out of it, you can go to them and say, well, you're going to have to pay for the platform, otherwise I'm going to turn you off from the system and you're not going to get more. Get there, you have to become a significant channel of business for them so that they feel the pain of you not generating business for them.
Not generating business for them. Okay.
Eventually, you will get to the business model of charging on both sides, both the based on transaction fees and success fees, and the platform charges on a software as a service basis. But you have to do it in two steps.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, see, most of the restaurants don't have internet connectivity. If you look into that, for door delivery, for table booking kind of restaurants, they have internet connection everywhere. But if you're looking at a smaller space of restaurant, like a fast food kind of a restaurant, where they don't have internet connectivity, so we came across a handheld device which is based out of GPRS. So any order which comes from a user goes to the server sends the message via GPRS to the handheld device, which prints out. There's a print which comes, and you can the guy can see the order, send it to the KOT, and send it to the delivery boy also. So that device is costing somewhere around 12,000 rupees. So my thing is, I personally doubt that fast food joints or a small restaurants which do door delivery. There are big restaurants which are also into door delivery. So we thought that we cannot give the information via phone, or we cannot expect them to log into the dashboard and see every time that any order has come, which would be little not practically viable for them to sit with a laptop and check every other time. So we thought when there is an order, there will be a beep in the machine itself, which you accept the order, you immediately that it prints out. It's costing somewhere around 12,000 rupees, and I feel that the users, the customers will not buy it as of now. So should I?
I'm not comfortable with you're giving this, you paying for this device for restaurants. My suggestion would be to focus on restaurants that have internet connection for the time being.
Internet connection, okay.
And you can partner with a device vendor that goes and sells this concept to you, and tell the device vendor that here's an application which will open up this market for you. There are probably 200 of these companies that you can sell 200 devices if you put this application on the devices, and you can do some sort of a partnership with a GPRS device company that goes and sells to these providers. But I would not, I would not pay for their devices, because there's
no point having an infrastructure
and all sorts of things.
All right. The third question, like we discussed, which I believe that I should not go as a SaaS as of now,
not
I should market myself as a marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You should not come to the U.S. This is first and foremost. You should do this in Chennai. The U.S. market is very crowded. This stuff is all done in the U.S.
It's not going to work here. Yeah. Okay.
So do it in Chennai. Do it in the way I said: first marketplace, transaction fee, success fee kind of business model, and then you can evolve that into SaaS. Include SaaS, but do it in Chennai, fully flesh out Chennai, fully penetrate Chennai, get it going in, and then once it works in Chennai, you can roll it out in multiple other cities.
Okay. See, as of now, since I told you, I have signed up 2 major clients here in Chennai who are big restaurant chains, with each giving me 20, 15 restaurants of theirs. So, they said that, I should start marketing for them, start bringing users for them. Then again, I need to sign up a lot of other guys before I even put it in the launch, right? Or should I just focus on...
Otherwise, if you don't do it quickly, the ones that you have signed up are going to start not being happy about it. So all this needs to be done very quickly.
Yeah. So I need to sign up minimum 50, like you said.
I think you'll need about 50, yeah.
Okay, all right.
But you have between the two that you've signed up, they're chains, so you do have some amount of bulk in there, but still I think you need a bit of variety, you know.
Variety, yeah, yeah.
But the portal is not going to be...
One is a North Indian, one is a... Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right,
yeah,
anything else?
I got it.
Comfortable with what you had wanted to ask?
I didn't get you, Sramana.
Are you comfortable with what you wanted to ask? Are you all set?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you so much.
Okay, Sumit, you're next.
Hi, Sramana. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good, and you?
I'm wonderful. So...
What you're doing with Campus Diaries?
Yes. We are based out of Pune. The company is registered out of Pune, but right now I'm in Bangalore for the product development.
Okay.
And we are about to launch in July. So right now we are in Bangalore. So I'll take you through the idea. You can see the first slide here, but a very basic overview concept as an analogy would be it's a LinkedIn of creative content, and plus, you know, some jazzed up chicken soup for the soul, if you remember the old chicken soup for the soul series.
Yeah, but what? Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so it's a creative and social web project using campuses as a community. Now, the whole premise is that everyone has a book in them, and everybody feels they've got a story and they've got a book in them, and they're not able to cross over and reach that level where, in spite of having the story in them, they are able to, you know, be published authors and come out with that book. So what we're doing is we are essentially enabling the realization and celebration of that book and that story in everybody. And the second premise is that the community celebrates the community's creativity. So this is the basic premise on which Campus Diaries is built upon. Again, once we...
I have a question here. Are you assuming that everybody can write?
No, we are not. One of the key aspects of this project is also enabling storytelling and enabling creativity. The evolution of this product, and even at its conception right now, one of our challenges is to let people express and create even if they are not good writers. So the social web product enables them to tell their pictures through stories, enables people to tell their stories through videos and, you know, other avenues. So because creativity has no definition, creativity does not have a standard medium of expression, right? So that's what we take into account, and we create multiple channels using social technology for people to be storytellers. You know, everybody cannot write, and everybody cannot even tweet. Everybody cannot, you know, even click pictures. So, you know, if you want to tell your story, we are there for you. The community is there for you. I hope that answers your question.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so again, once we figure out the premise, the thing was, okay, you need to tell a story. You need to, you know, write about yourself. So what do people want to write and create about? This was the first thing. The second thing is, who do people want to tell their stories to? Okay, fine, you've written, you want to tell a story, but you do need an audience also. What would they want from their writing and creating? What is the incentive when people want to write or they want to create content? So essentially, if you see the model here, it answers all these questions. It talks about a model which links, first of all, being able to tell a story, and then it links it to publishing. So essentially what you're doing is celebrating storytelling by taking the juice out of all the content which is available, all the stories that people tell, and taking it to a book where, you know, that book is the juice, the cream, and the best of the stories that have come out from the community.
Okay.
And when you say publishing, obviously we are, you know, in the age of social web, and we are dealing with, you know, multi-platform publishing. So not only is it about print books, but it is also about digital publishing. It is also about ebook apps and, you know, an interactive version of ebooks, which is what is, you know, accessible everywhere. People in campuses, students in campuses, all of them have a smartphone. So, we are reaching out to that crowd too.
All students at campuses have smartphones?
A lot of them have smartphones.
No, come on. No, that's not even a reasonable assumption.
Okay, can we move on to the next slide? Okay, so this is the overview of the entire model. The model is driven by a social web engine. So we have a product which essentially where you're able to create you have various roles. You're a consumer, you're a curator, you create content, you tell your story. And this model, again, the community collaborates, they come together, they give feedback, and they filter out stories which are the best, or which probably relate to the community in the best way. And then it is all filtered down to season special books. Because we're talking about campuses, right now the model is to create a fall edition and a spring edition. So now these books are the best of the stories, and the whole model is to take it to mainstream publishing and mainstream sales and sell these books in chains, in crossword, use community sales, use online retail, use organized retail. So basically it's taking a story of the people which they have created to mainstream publishing and sales.
So you're trying to do some social web version of the campus literary magazine, actually.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, it can be looked at like that, and it is one of the key probably successes of this entire model would be the culture mashup, which would result out of an integrated version of all the campus mags that you see all around.
You have to understand one thing though, there's 1% of people who produce. The other 99% are consumers of content, they don't produce content.
True. One way in which we would like to address it is, again, enabling people who cannot produce, easing the entire process of creating content or telling your story. And obviously, the second part is, even if, even after all this, if you take the percentage to 95 to 5 instead of 99 to 1, it is also about engaging the community in a proper way. Even if, so we are talking about a projected user base of, say, 500,000 in 6 months, and even if 1% of those are creating content, we're still talking about, 50,000 or 5,000 people who are creating quality stories. Out of that, if you're talking about a book which has about 50 stories which are the best, our job is done. I mean, if you're looking for 50 high quality stories which relate to people in a very good way, in an exciting way.
What is the business model? You're saying you're done. What is the business model of being done?
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
What is your business model?
Can you move on to the next slide? Okay, the next one. The one that says customer and user profile. Okay, I'll build my answer on this. Social web, I mean, essentially it fuses two parts. It fuses social web to publishing. So one part of our customer segment or the audience segment will be people who are on social web. So we're talking about the 15 to 40 age bracket, which is on Facebook or which is on social media, which is about, say, 50 million in India. Again, we're talking about the publishing angles, which is again huge. The readership in India is huge, especially in the upsurge in Indian writing and pop fiction phase. So we're talking about these two target market segments, which are again interrelated with each other and which have a huge overlap. So our business model is the social web. If you can move on to the next slide.
So hold on. There are lots of false assumptions in this slide itself. 15
okay.
to 48 segment is not campus segment. Campus segment is a much lower, I mean, much tighter age group segment. It's the 18, 19 to 24, 25 segment.
Okay, I probably missed out telling you that when we say campus, we define campuses, right, the progression from schools, colleges, and professional campuses. So we're talking about the market segment which starts right from, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, Okay, your video broke off. So we're talking about a market segment which starts right from the school, from users who are 13 years of age to people inside professional campuses who are again maybe just in there, and who some of whom are nostalgic about their campus, or if they're in professional campuses like TCS and Infosys in India, which have a huge user base. And we're talking about a user segment which goes up to 35 years of age.
But TCS, Infosys are full of nerds. They are not the ones who write. We have a big psychopath match here. People who like to write are the more humanities types. They are not the ones who are working at TCS and Infosys.
True, but again, we are treating them essentially as consumers. If you are talking about content creators or storytellers, then we are looking at people in schools and in colleges.
But that's work. I think you're gonna. What's going to be interesting here is if there are stories about campuses that people can relate to within the campus. If this thing has, let's say if it's a particular school, let's say St. Xavier's College, students and alumni sharing their stories, and is there some relevance to that? If it's a generic writing and publishing platform, that's one, it doesn't warrant the name Campus Diaries. A misleading name, and it's too generic in my opinion.
No, all the stories, the entire.
Then you're trying to create a self-publishing platform, which I'm not
no,
clear what you're trying to do.
You're correct, but the entire project has a very strong context. Even the the stories which come out, they all contain the context of campuses. So essentially, you'll be writing about campuses, you'll be featuring your campuses in them, you'll be talking about, so people who are already in some campuses, they'll be, talking about their campuses. People who are out of those campuses, they'll be looking at it as alumni, and people who are, reminiscing about, stories from their campuses.
Okay. So essentially what you're saying is that the campus goes beyond the campus itself. It's the alumni of that campus that are also participating. That's why they.
Yes. Yes. If you can go to the slide which says, which is about why the campus. There's a slide called Why the Campus. If you go on.
Forward, backward. I have no idea what your slides are.
Forward. If you could go on. Forward. Yeah. The previous one. Yes. So essentially, the campus plays a much bigger role than just providing identity to people here. The campus provides context to both the users and the stories which arise out of campus diaries. Again, the campus is also a curation medium. I mean, we've covered the content creation part, but on the audience part, people need something to relate to, and this is where the campus plays a part in context. You give an example of, say, St. Xavier's. So people from St. Xavier's, they would participate in a much more cohesive way and much more intensive way to a content which has that context, rather than to any general or generic piece of content on the internet. So, and again, the third point is the market. So again, the major driving market segment in India for social web, and also for the new age pop fiction, which is currently in vogue, is essentially this market itself. We're talking about a user base which is 18 to 35 years of age. So the campus provides that context of being that market which is essentially driving this entire enterprise. So the campus goes beyond just being an identity on the project, just being an angle, to providing not only context to users but to content to the audience and as a sales and marketing channel.
So basically, the books that you create out of it are the primary market for that are going to be the campus community around it.
Yes. Our primary push is going to be that market segment, and obviously there are going to be parallel spillovers to people like professors or people like parents of those people who are going to relate to buying this book because the people they know have written for that book. So if I could probably divide it vaguely, the market segment would divide between 80-20, where 80% of people, as you said, would be people who are part of those campus, and better still, in a refined way, they are part of our user base, right? So if you're talking about say 500,000 people as part of our signed up user base, we are at a potential of selling around say 50% of the books to that to 50% of those people. So we are talking about say 250,000 books being sold. So
wow, that's a very, very aggressive assumption.
No, I mean that was just a number. So I mean essentially I wanted to point out that when we're talking about the market, I mean we are talking about it as a subset of our user base itself, apart from obviously spillovers which are outside of our user base.
Okay. All right. So talk us through this monetization slide. I think that's one that we need to understand.
Okay. So as I have pointed out, the entire project is divided between the social web angle and the publishing angle. So when you're talking about the social web angle, the monetization would essentially be on ads. The ads, because it is a full-blown social app with demographics of users, we could go on and evolve to an ad framework which takes into account targeted advertising, contextual advertising. We're talking about a user base and a demographic which is the chief consumers in the Indian segment, talking about people in the age bracket of 15 to 40. So the market and the user base that you're dealing with, say the advertising are selling to, are very highly relevant. Again, we're talking about a social technology-backed advertising frameworks. Obviously, it is data-informed and data-driven, and that's what the analytics-backed node justifies. When we come to publishing, the publishing is obviously the revenue stream will be driven by the sale of books. Again, the sale of books, not only print but also digital. When we come out with the book, it will come out with a Kindle version. It will come out with a digital version. We are also looking at having a Facebook app as a social reader. We are also looking at having interactive ebook apps on platforms like iOS and Android. So we are looking at a very comprehensive publishing revenue model. Also, even if say the revenue stream is not working in terms of selling stuff like a social app to people, we could make it free, and then that's how it links back to the ad framework, where it could be the revenue model could be driven by ads rather than that being sold as a paid product.
I don't like that.
But that's always going to be.
There's lots of problems with advertising as the primary monetization model. Content sites are struggling to monetize.
Okay, so say if obviously the first game is going to be where I make a good enough interactive ebook app. Obviously something like that doesn't exist in India, where people are writing a book is being sold in a mainstream version in print in bookstores all across India, and the same thing is available as an Android or an iOS app in form of an ebook. So say I do it as a paid version, and if it doesn't work, then what should be my fallback?
I think the only product that has any kind of reasonable chance of monetization is the book that you're producing, the print book actually, not even ebook.
Yes.
And I think you have to figure out what kinds of numbers can you expect. Selling 2,000 copies of a book is hard enough. So if you generate
we are looking at
for one campus, the likelihood of that campus buying 2,000, 3,000 copies is already a difficult affair. So how many campuses, what is the size of the community, how many books can you sell? You have to do the math and see if you can build a business out of this. I think, as a community, what you're suggesting sounds reasonable, sounds interesting and so forth, but I think it's not going to be a very scalable, very large business from a revenue point of view.
Now if you can move back to the market and user base analysis slide.
This one?
Okay, so we are talking about a user base which is composed of more than 25, and this is still an a conservative number because we're talking about in the immediate next 2 seasons. There are a lot of students in India, there are a lot of campuses in India. Again, because we've defined campuses as ranging from schools to professional campuses, we are dealing with more than 60,000 campuses in India. We're dealing with, and again, as a validation of that number, because that number is between of people who are aged between 15 and 35, we know that there are at least 50 million people right there because everybody is on Facebook, right? So we are talking about a customer base or a user base or a potential market base of people who we can sell those books to being that number. We can also validate it as, I don't know if you know about how Chetan Bhagat and the recent Indian pop fiction sells in India, but essentially it is that market, and we are talking about a range of around 500,000 books being sold annually. One more, of course, the factor would be pricing. Now, because we are dealing with populist, and leisure fiction and leisure reading, our pricing would be very aggressive. We are talking about books which are priced at around 150 rupees or $3 for that matter. So such kind of books is right now what say the business model that Chetan Bhagat and a lot of populist Indian writers follow, and they sell a huge lot of books. So we're not talking about say selling around 10,000 books in season 1, but we are actually talking about selling something which is beyond 50,000.
I don't think you will succeed in selling more than 50,000 books per title.
No, I mean during the entire season.
And okay, so let's for the sake of argument say you can sell 50,000 books, and what is the cost of producing this book and what is the profit? So if you're going to sell the book at 100 rupees, let's say, what is the profitability in that? What does it cost to produce the book?
Right now for season 1, we would go with self-publishing. So right now the profit margin which is there would be around say 20%. But again, as we move forward, and as you said, the problem would be in scaling and managing such a distribution network or a sales network for selling say 50,000 books. So we are looking to get on and attract mainstream publishers like Penguin or like Random House or mainstream publishers which exist in India, and then basing our publishing sales around that, and then we act on.
Incredibly difficult to work. I have lots of experience working with publishers, and the publishers in India are dreadful to work with. Absolutely dreadful.
Okay, so ma'am, would you suggest that we stick with the self-publishing model and not go to publishers?
Probably. Because you will not succeed working with publishers. You're going to have to do this on a self-publishing model, and there are lots of margin issues that you're going to run into because small run books cost more to produce.
Correct.
And I think so. Let's say you make 20% profit on 100 rupees. That's like a 20 rupees per copy with 50,000. That's 100,000, 200,000 basically. That's 2 lakh rupees. Is the total total revenue per season that you generate. The amount of money this business can generate, in my opinion, is actually relatively small.
Okay, would you also recommend, again, this is a suggestion which you could give us is, how heavily do we push into the digital publishing segment?
Do some research on are people in India paying for digital products, digital publishing products? I'm not sure. People are basically free riders. The problem with the internet is everybody is free riding. Nobody is willing to pay for anything. It takes a lot, and especially with Indian consumers, it takes a lot before you can extract a paisa out of them.
Okay, so again, maybe as an extension of this problem, which I pointed out earlier, was should we look at making those ebooks free and then using that as an advertising platform?
Problem is the advertising rates are not very high, so you're going to get a little bit more out of advertising. So all total, I'm not seeing a very large business that you can build out of this particular business model, is all I'm saying. Now you may be very happy building a very small business, that's fine. Then you have your cost structures need to be commensurate with that. You can't escalate. You can't get the cost to run up to a point where you can't afford to make it as a business. So what I'm saying is I am not convinced that business is going to become a sustainable profit business.
Okay.
Because complexity of the business, the operational complexity, the technical complexity, the logistical complexity of this business is significant.
Okay.
And you cannot do that without quite a lot of people, because a lot of it is manual processing and stuff like that. So if that is the case, then if you don't generate enough revenues, you cannot build a profitable business. Now, it's not clear to me that you can build a profitable business out of this.
Wouldn't a lot of, again, a lot of revenue be dependent upon the user base, as dependent upon a lot of user base, which is again, which draws a lot of advertising, but you mentioned the advertising revenues not being pretty high in India. So
anywhere, I think.
Maybe we could look at bolstering the revenue model by having a aggressive approach into getting a lot of users signed on, so that because we established the social web revenue stream based on advertisements, and obviously we try and sell a lot of books also. So we are essentially trying to, diversify the revenue model and buffer into two parts.
Customer acquisition of that kind of volume is extremely expensive. There is absolutely no case for putting $100,000 worth of angel investment into this business. If I'm a savvy investor, I will go through the kind of analysis I just went through with you and tell you that, sorry, this is not a fundable deal. I don't
what would you advise?
How I would get return on my investment if I put $100,000 into this business.
Okay, and what would be your advice to get a lot of customers, or what would be your advice on having an approach towards customer acquisition, user acquisition?
I can't spend more time with you right now, Sumit. I have to work with Joe next. We've already spent a lot of time on your business. So customer acquisition strategies, there's all sorts of, hang on, I will talking about how we teach these different, tools, customer acquisition strategies, them in 1M1M. Let me first finish working with Joe, and we can come back to your questions afterwards if we have more time.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks for your time.
Joe, on to you.
Yeah, hi, Sramana. Thanks for having me on. I love what you're doing with 1 million by 1 million. I love it. You're working on something so grand, trying to create $1 trillion in GDP and 10 million jobs. It's unbelievable. I want to be a part of that. But anyway, just to jump into All Our Power, the site that we just launched. Basically, we're looking to create the largest group purchasing organizations for consumers in the world. And basically, we're approaching this from a different angle, something that, as far as I know, no one else has worked on before. Our goal is basically to amass 10 million users, to amass a tremendous user base. And then we'll have unprecedented leverage to sit down with every major retailer and negotiate discounts for our members. We're not trying to do something where we come out and have some special offer and and try to convince customers that we have a great offer, come join. We're saying, hey, if we can all band together under one organization, we can then sit down with every major retailer and basically who could say no to 10 million potential customers or risk losing those customers. And again, from my background in the healthcare business, I've had contracts with large group purchasing organizations within the dental world, a company called Novation, which is a $25 billion GPO. And the way they work is extremely simple and brilliant. They basically represent 1 out of every 4 hospitals in the United States. And they then have the leverage to go sit down with every major medical manufacturer and say, hey, basically, you need to work on pricing for us, or 1/4 of the nation's hospitals or 1/4 of your potential customer base will not do business with you. We're going to be using a competitor's products. And that works incredibly well, and they're successful at it. And on the flip side, if you just take leaving group purchasing organizations aside, if you take major companies, every major company, they have a corporate rate. If they go to rent a car, their phone bills are cheaper than regular people just because they're ordering 10,000 phone lines or however big their company is. They get better deals on health insurance, so on and so on. And again, the reason for that is very simple. The big companies, if they have the chance to get a huge user base. Sorry, I'm already talking on the next slide, but I'm going to jump around a little bit. But they basically, when these companies have the ability to basically get a huge user base of customers in one shot, and it's worth it for them to lower pricing. And so we figured if we can tackle this problem for consumers, and just to give you an example, excuse me, if we were to negotiate car rentals, so we would send out, assuming again that we got to our target of amassing this user base of 10 million members, we'd sit down with the 3 biggest players in the car rental industry, take Avis, Budget, Hertz, or whatever, and we'd say, hey, we survey our members, X percentage are willing to move over from whichever car rental company they're using today. Whichever one, we want you to know that we're sitting down with the other 2 largest players in this field. Whoever gives us the best deal, our members will use it, and we plan on issuing discount cards to our members that they can show to those retailers. Again, we're not selling anything on our site. We're simply operating as a group purchasing organization where we're negotiating contracts, and they can go in with their discount card and get a discount on whatever they spend. So in my mind, again, I believe this hasn't been done yet, just because with the advances made in social media, etc. I don't think it's ever been possible to really create such a tremendous user base. But we basically have incredible purchasing power. And if you look back at history, in the early 19th century, when the middlemen and corporate sellers were gouging little farmers, finally the farmers got together and created the co-op. And that changed everything, including bringing the idea of silver as a currency and all sorts of things like that. And if you look at similarly with what the unions were capable of achieving when the workers all gathered together under one banner. So really, our goal is our business model is very simple. Let's get a tremendous user base. It's obviously going to take time and be expensive, but if we can get to this.
Joe,
sorry.
Question to you: what is the most successful buying club in the world?
I'm guessing you're thinking of Groupon, but we're nothing.
No. Costco. The greatest buying club in the world is Costco.
Agreed. I agree. Now the issue, I don't take anything away from Costco's business model. They've done incredibly well. However, Costco is one store. People want to shop where they want to shop. So, if someone's used to, they're buying things in X number of stores. Health insurance. Costco doesn't sell health insurance, or they're not a cable provider, or they don't have, they don't do any. They're not a car rental agency. We're basically telling people, if we can gather all of you under one banner, we'll negotiate for everything you spend under every category, be it groceries, health insurance, or flights or hotels, whatever it may be. We'll be able to deal with every industry. You don't buy anything from us, you deal with those retailers. However, we're going to simply let you know that, hey, if you want to rent the car, you can go to whoever you used to use, or you can use Avis, because Avis agreed to give all our members a 10% discount. And again, that works in the corporate. Sorry, I missed what you said.
What is the business model?
Very simply, we want to work like a traditional GPO. In the group purchasing organizations in the business world, they charge the retailers a 3% fee. So for us, our members, it's always free to join, free to do whatever, free to come on board, and we basically take a 3% call it royalty or rebate from the retailer. And that works tremendously well. I mean, if you take, I know because I've worked with GPOs, Staples. If a regular consumer walked into a Staples store and wanted to buy themselves a pad of paper or a computer, they pay regular retail. Now, Staples has a corporate center where they deal with group purchasing organizations where they get heavy discounts off of regular retail. And we're saying, hey, the biggest GPO, as big as they are, if we can amass 10 million people as a user base, and obviously, we don't want to stop at 10 million, but we'd have way more negotiating power than the biggest GPO.
What is the validation so far? Are you getting people to join your
Well, again, I mean, it's pretty crazy, and I guess we'll talk about that in a second, but we just launched a couple of days ago, 2 days ago. We already have, the Wall Street Journal and the Huffington Post are all running articles about us in the next couple of days. We actually basically, as a launch, again, we took sort of a risky gamble with the site, and I guess I could jump to that now. As opposed to, I don't know if you've had a chance to see our site, we sort of branded ourselves as a movement, as opposed to just, having traditional language, saying, hey, we're a group purchasing organization, this is how it works. And, our reasoning for that is, and again, that's why I said we went through 3 or 4 versions of our website. And, you know, the first were much more corporate looking and saying, hey, this is what we do, this is how we could save you money. And then we said, hey, you know, if we can just ignite people's imaginations and let them understand that, hey, you know, if we could get to this goal, you know, we can we'll be able to save an unbelievable amount of money. Look what we can achieve. So we sort of called it a movement. And I guess what we did, it was a risky gamble. And again, I'm not sure yet if it'll pay off because we just launched yesterday. But we basically decided to do a 2-day rally at Zuccotti Park in New York. That was like, you know, the launch pad of Occupy Wall Street. And we just basically said, you know, Occupy Wall Street was talking about how, you know, they've been protesting for a while now about how, you know, the 99% are suffering and, you know, and nobody's really had any good ideas of actually how to do something about it. So, you know, it's a group of people complaining and, you know, what do they want? They want corporate America to shut their doors and give away all their profit. So we basically said we're going to hold a rally. We had hundreds of people who showed up and we had all sorts of news stations came out. And we basically said, you know, we want to make a lot of noise from there and make it our official launch party and basically say, hey, we have a solution. You know, if we can all just gather together and join what we're calling a movement, we'll actually be able to enact change and help lower pricing for every consumer on all their expenses and really sort of bridge that gap and, you know, give the average consumer a much bigger say and much more leverage. So again, the jury's still out on if I made the right move, and that I'm really curious to hear what you think about that. But, you know, so far we had a lot of press pick us up. Again, we've had, you know, some Occupy Wall Street people. We actually, you know, converted some of them that wanted to join, and some came out today to protest against us, which in a way was good because the New York Daily News and the New York Post came out, and I'm guessing they're going to run articles. I haven't seen it yet because it's still going on today. But I just figured, you know, sometimes bad press might be good press. Sometimes controversy is good because people are talking about you. So, well, you know, that's sort of where we're at there.
Basically, sorry? You're going to get your answer from the market. These are the kinds of things that you cannot predict whether it will stick or not. And it may create some interest today and then it will taper off. 10 million is a very big number.
Agreed. I mean, again, the reason why we picked the number 10 million, I mean, technically we didn't have to pick any number. We could have just said, hey, let's get as many users as we want. But, you know, my goal has really been to sort of ignite people's imagination. You know, and again, I'm sorry to do this, but I just want to give you one more example, which is, you know, what sort of brings it home sometimes. And I read some article about a similar situation that happened in China. But imagine if one person goes into a car dealership and is negotiating for a car. You know, you're able to haggle a little bit, get a couple % off the price of your car. Now imagine you showed up with 10 friends. Your price on your car, you'd be able to negotiate a much better deal. Now imagine you sat down with General Motors and said, "Hey, we have 10 million customers."
You don't need to sell me on group purchase. You really don't need to sell me on group purchase. That makes total business sense. The whole premise of your business depends on accumulating a lot of consumers who are willing to let you negotiate on their behalf and are willing to give you real needs. You know, you go tell Hertz that we want car rental at this price and you can't deliver on the actual transaction side, your credibility is not going to be there and you will not get any other deal after that.
Agreed, which is why, as I mentioned, we want to wait until we amass that user base or at least get very close to it. And then we will be surveying our members and basically saying, hey, you know, here's a quick, simple, you know, 30-second questionnaire just to, you know, would you be willing to switch car rental companies if you got a better price? How often do you rent the car, et cetera? And then we can go sit down with the retailers with hard data. And again, as far
it will depend entirely on whom you bring onto this platform, who joins the platform, and what their you know, purchase bucket is. What, you know, maybe car rental is not of interest. Depends on what demographic you pick up.
Agreed, and again, I was just using the car rental example. I don't know, it just popped into my head right now. But we plan on doing this for everything from groceries to any expense that exists. And again,
guidance on I think what you're doing is doing it as a movement is all very well. It completely lacks any kind of segmentation, and I think you would build a much more successful business if you do this in a segmented way and try to bring on board a segment. For instance, you will see that you know, there are certain segments that do a lot of buying. So the mom segment does a lot of buying.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess that
the minute you start positioning as a segment, it will take away from this grand, you know, 10 million movement kind of stuff. But from a business point of view, you'll be a lot more successful if you do it in a segmented way.
So let me ask you, I hear what you're saying, and I respect that. And again, part of our sign-up process is a user just puts in their email address, or does, I'm going somewhere with this, is someone just puts in their email address or hits Facebook Connect. So it's a really simple, the second you put in your email address, our website sends you an email saying, thank you, you're a member. However, as soon as that is done, our website basically gives people, it's like basically a 4-line survey, which basically says, asks them, how old are you? Basically, it's an optional survey, but how old are you? What's your income, etc. So,
Joe, that's after the fact. You're going to start doing the customer acquisition by design. If you want to position on the mom segment, your customer acquisition should be geared towards the mom segment.
Right. No, I agree with you about it. Just so you understand, I'm not disagreeing with you. Again, like I said, our initial launch, we sort of really wanted to garner a lot of attention. Obviously, we're going to use, and again, that's something I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. And I guess you're going in that line, but we want to use a lot of traditional tools in terms of picking up customers, such as using CPC and sort of going after different segments that would be our ideal customer. That's definitely a part. I mean, we're one day into this. So, I mean, obviously, we're going to go in a lot of different directions in terms of acquiring customers.
But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, Joe, it feels to me like a very 30,000 feet level situation right now. You're going to have to make this a much more granular strategy. I mean, getting to 10 million consumers is a very big deal. There are, getting to 10,000 consumers is a big deal. So you.
I agree. So sort of just to interject again, we're self-funded now. I mean, I'm personally putting several $1 million of my own money into this, so we're not starting, sort of bootstrapped in that sense where we have to go run quickly and find an investor to put in a few $100,000. So we do have money available to actually start acquiring an initial user base, gain momentum. I mean, we're working with some different, we've done deals with some media sources and in terms of getting, guaranteed PR, et cetera. We're working with companies like News USA. So we're working on that, and again, meaning I have the ability.
But I think you're missing what I'm trying to say here.
Okay.
News USA does not give you a segment. It gives you a broad, generic population of consumers. What you need
are you saying that? All right.
What you need to design is you have to make some firm calls on exactly where you're going to position this business, what kind of products, what kind of services are you going to go for, and what demographic aligns with that. And then you have to design a full marketing campaign around that so that you use your money well and not kind of, squander that money for the period that you have the money so that you can build a substantial customer base in the right segment within a reasonable time.
Now, would you suggest? Sorry, I appreciate that, and I'm guessing I guess I agree with you. Would you say that in that case I should focus my marketing dollars at buying cost per click AdWords or things like that in segments? So
no. Not at all.
What would you suggest? What would you suggest?
Guerrilla PR, social media. There are very specific strategies of doing customer acquisition campaigns in specific segments, and I would go for those. Guerrilla PR being one of them, social media being another. Those would be more. But you have to do it in an organized way, systematic, organized way.
Right. Can I ask you, I guess, in summary, I'm curious what you think about the idea in general, about what I'm trying to do.
Fine. I think group purchasing organization, there are many different spins happening on this concept, and it's been happening since the beginning of the internet. I've been following the internet since my career started in 1994 while I was still a graduate student, and that's when Netscape went public and the whole internet phenomenon came about. The idea of group purchasing using tons of online people, bringing tons of online people together has been around for a long time. And as you rightly pointed out, Groupon is a spin on group purchase. And so there's all sorts of different spins on group purchasing using the internet as the channel. So I'm completely comfortable with the GPO idea. You just have to, you know, find the niches in which you're going to do it, because in a way, the Occupy Wall Street crowd is not the ideal crowd.
Of course. We just did it to raise awareness, to get written up and make a media.
And that's
Sorry?
fine. The gimmicks work in marketing, but you're going to have to get well past gimmick to get to real
right.
demographics.
So you're saying in summary, you like the idea. I just have to figure out what I want to do in terms of customer
I like
acquisition.
the idea. The exhibition needs a lot of work. The strategy needs a lot of work.
Do you have any ideas that we can discuss off the show in terms of someone good who can help me in terms of customer acquisition and that angle of the business?
Why don't you hold on, and I will talk about 1M1M, and you can ask me questions after you've listened to the 1M1M segment.
Sounds like a plan.
That's how we work with our entrepreneurs, and if you decide that you want to take advantage of that program, you're most welcome to join us.
Okay, amazing. Sounds like a plan. Okay, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to stick around and bug you a little bit later.
Sounds good. So
thank you.
One request I have to all of you who are here today is that the only way we can achieve 1M by 1M is by working with really serious entrepreneurs who have the mettle to build $1 million and beyond businesses. So if you help us, if you like what you hear today or what you see today, please help spread the word and bring serious entrepreneurs onto this forum, and at least give them a chance to check out what 1M1M is and what we are offering, so that they can make a decision whether they want to be part of this program, and take advantage of the resources that we have brought together. So the site for 1M1M is 1m1m.sramanamitra.com. And let's look at the very basic level of resources. We have a blog, and that blog is chock full of case studies and trends and interviews of thought leaders, and in both educational content, inspirational content, and of course news and trends content, contemporary current content. On top of that, you have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, which starts synthesizing some of our case studies and starts defining a methodology for building companies. And this is a precursor to the 1M1M program. However, you do start seeing synthesis, and there are two critical points that we really believe in the 1M1M methodology that is highlighted in the Entrepreneur Journeys book series is bootstrapping and positioning. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient startups. So whatever resources you have, whatever money you have, whatever time you have, whatever people you have, you want to make sure that they are doing things in a very laser-sharp, strategic way with very sharp positioning. I just kind of brainstormed with Joe on his positioning. His positioning right now needs a lot of work to make this a capital-efficient customer acquisition process. Otherwise, it's going to be what we call spray and pray, and spray and pray is not a strategy. We do not recommend you spray and pray. If you look at the the positioning book, you will see one of the opening lines of that book is "Do not spray and pray." So there's a whole lot of mechanics of all case study based mechanics of company building in these books. You will find them all on Amazon Kindle, and if you're in India, you'll find them on Flipkart. The blog is at sramanamitra.com, and you have these online roundtables on a pretty regular basis, almost every week, except when I'm traveling, which I'm about to embark on this afternoon. And these are free roundtables where you can get some free consulting, free advice on your business, and just brainstorm with somebody who has business experience at a very sizable level and get some core feedback on your business. So these again have been going on for a long time, and they're quite an established fare in the startup ecosystem today. Then you have the premium program, which is like a membership-based club, and you become part of that club and you get access to certain resources. One of them is extensive methodology guidance through a case study and video lectures-based curriculum. We also help you with business development where we have contacts. We connect you with customers, potential customers, channel partners, whatever would help you, build your business. So one of the things we discussed earlier in the show today is our very new deal with the DMGT Group and ANN Media, which is one of their businesses that has access to 130 million consumers. So conceivably, that could be, Joe, for instance, that could be a channel for you to acquire customers for what you're trying to do, and you have to then map out a strategy that takes that customer base, that demographic into account, how you're going to work with a channel partner, what do you get, what does the channel partner get, blah, blah, blah. So we try to do as much of these, channel partner, business development kinds of functions. We even connect you where appropriate or where we have contacts to media, analysts, whatever. Then we have private versions of these strategy consulting sessions, these roundtables. Those are the private roundtables. And because you have the benefit of the curriculum, you actually get to study the curriculum quite a bit before you come and talk to me at these private roundtables. So the discussions of the private roundtables are much more substantive and much more sophisticated because you've tackled some of the basics in the curriculum. And of course, where appropriate, we help with financing. Not all projects are fundable. Like I'm not sure if Syed, could stomach what I told him, but the fact is, what he showed me, in my opinion, is not financeable because it's not a large enough business. Only very large business opportunities are financeable. So if you are asking somebody to give you money, you have to show them in very concrete terms how they're going to get return on that investment. People don't do financing for charity purposes. If they wanted to do financing in businesses, they need returns. If they wanted to do financing for charity purposes, they would go work with philanthropy. So other pointers, you can look at the 1M1M self-assessment that gives you it's a 9-point questionnaire that helps you ask these questions that you need to answer to gauge calibrate yourself essentially, to gauge fundability, to gauge where you are. That's on the 1M1M site. You will also find on the top right corner, you have premium program, FAQ, and video messages. Those are more answering questions and explaining to you what the premium program entails. And of course, there's Irina Patterson in the room today in the public chat. She will, if you need to talk to someone live, you can schedule time or you can contact her by Skype or phone and talk to her. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. Even if you have $1 million, we want you to spend that $1 million well so that you don't find yourself in a place where you've run out of the $1 million and you've not accomplished what you need to accomplish. In terms of the curriculum, we break it down into 7 core modules: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. So many of you asked me about strategies for customer acquisition. We have a very comprehensive module on customer acquisition, and you can study that module, work with that module, ask questions within that module, and we'll work with you to develop your customer acquisition strategy using those techniques and mechanisms. Then we have electives, which are aligned with the trends of the industry today in IT and IT-enabled services: Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare, IT, online education, gaming. These are our core areas. We don't really do much in the capital-intensive businesses like clean tech, semiconductor systems, and so forth. Those are hard to finance and very hard to bootstrap, so we don't really have a lot of biotech, biopharma. We don't really do much in those areas. Now, the case studies that we have developed have been built over 6 years of bringing very successful entrepreneurs onto this forum and developing interview-based case studies with each of them, and they have very generously shared their success strategies, where they failed, why they failed, their analysis of why they succeeded, how they succeeded. So there's a lot of lessons from the trenches that is both educational and inspirational. And we have really, accumulated the largest collection of very early stage startup case studies. Typically we analyze cases of companies that have built at least $5 million in revenue, but we go into the absolute basics of how did you validate the business, how did you put one step before the other, and just get to some sort of momentum, and those are fantastic case studies. To give you an example, one of the very recent case studies that we've done is a company in Florida that is doing $5 million a year with 3 employees. It's a phenomenal case study. And in the domain of lean capital efficient startups, our collection of case studies is by far the best available. Let's see. So that's pretty much about the 1M1M program. I know there are people in the room who are from the investor community or from the incubator community. We also have an affiliate program for those communities, and you're very welcome to become an affiliate partner of the 1M1M program. And the upcoming free roundtables are May 31st. Actually, June 7th is not a free roundtable, Maureen. June 4th and June 7th are the finals of the Blue Snap ELANS contest, from what I recall. And then June 14th, June 21st, June 28th, we have free roundtables. A lot of that is also going to be with other partners who are community partners, community members in various parts of the world. So we are really trying to work with local organizers who are trying to do entrepreneurship development and we're trying to augment their efforts, because it is important. The efforts that the people are putting in at local levels are very important, and we are not competitive to any of these efforts. We are completely complementary, supplemental. We just enhance and augment those efforts. So you're very welcome to take advantage of all of these resources. And that's pretty much what I have to say about what we bring to the table as far as 1M1M is concerned. You're very welcome to ask questions in the public chat. We have a few minutes. So I will open up my public chat to take questions. While you're doing that, I just want to also mention this other book, Vision India 2020. If you are looking at India as your, canvas, so to speak, this book has $45 billion business ideas, and you're very welcome to take any of them and execute on them. They are free for you to, steal ideas, morph, modify, whatever, but just use it as a source of reference points and inspiration to brainstorm about what business you want to build. That's it. As far as the formal content of this session, this is time for Q&A. If you have any questions, let me know. You can put it in the public chat, and I will pick it up there and try to address it. Jimmy is asking, Irina wanted to talk to you regarding Tanzania. Skype number is fine, yeah. I bet, Jimmy, I'm sure Irina will be happy to talk to you on her Skype. Anybody else? There you go, Irina and Jimmy are connected. So Irina, by the way, is your point person. If you have questions about 1M1M, the person you want to connect with by Skype or phone or email is Irina. So by the way, if you haven't introduced yourself and told us where you're joining from and what project you're working on, please do so. We are very interested in learning about you and who you are, where you're coming from, how did you find out about 1M1M, and so forth. Within the program, there's a lot of business that goes on amongst the members as well. Let's say yesterday we had a private roundtable, and one of the companies is doing a crowdsourced testing platform, software testing platform, and one of the other members in the program immediately said that I like what you're doing and I would love to use your, your offering as our testing platform. So there's a lot of interesting connecting of the dots that goes on. Joe, I would like you to, if you want to really learn about customer acquisition and your options and so forth, I would like you to, especially if you're planning to join the program, I would like you to do the positioning module and the customer acquisition module as soon as possible. I can't cover this in 2 minutes. This is something that you're going to have to spend some time to learn the mechanics of and so forth and ask me questions in context. But I suspect that you're really going to have to spend some time to go through the modules, and your positioning needs a lot of work. Customer acquisition cannot come before positioning. You have to do positioning first and then customer acquisition strategy second. And I think in your case, what I'm pointing out is that you really need to get your positioning tightened up so that the customer acquisition strategy can follow and be efficient based on that positioning. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? All right, looks like I'm not seeing anything further. Sudhir, you haven't introduced yourself. I see a few comments from you. We don't know you. I don't think we have met you before. So tell us where you're joining from. Sumit, I'm glad you found the program helpful. So this is from Bangalore, okay? Don't send me private messages. Everybody wants to know that you're from Bangalore. And what are you working on, Sudhir? What kind of project are you working on? Sudhir says he's working on wind profiler radars development, okay? Anybody else? Any other questions, comments, introductions? All right. I think we're going to wrap up the session for today and get on with our day. I have to actually fly out tonight, this afternoon, so I need to finish my packing and get going. I will hopefully see some of you in person at the next roundtable in London, and then I will see you back here for the next session on, I believe it's May 31st is the next session. So see you soon. Bye, everybody. Have a good week and rest of the week and weekend, and I'll look forward to working with more of you in the future sessions. Bye.